So there is no doubt that this preseason is very important for Trey Lance, considering all that he's already gone through during his time in the NFL, being traded away from the San Francisco 49ers to the Dallas Cowboys. He needs to take some strides forward to at least show whether it's the Cowboys, if they want to move off of Dak in the future, whether it's another team out there looking to pick him up in the future. He needs to take some strides forward to prove that, he can handle a NFL offense and be able to be a productive quarterback in the NFL. So it has been very interesting to watch his progress in this preseason. And I think this past preseason game, he looked very good, was very efficient, had a few misses, but all in all, very productive day. And so I want to share with you here what Jerry Jones had to say about Trey Lance. Here's a quote from a CBSSports.com article. It said this: I saw obvious improvement, Jones said Tuesday when asked about Lance's preseason outing at the Raiders. That's promising because he does have a lot of improvement to have, but he's got all the tools. He's got the metal. You saw that metal clicking in adjustments that he hadn't made, let's say as early as the week before. That's pretty promising, the way he played out there Saturday. The issue is after preseason, how does he get his reps without something negative happening with Dak, or in this particular case, Cooper Rush? I like to see us really be able to have our quarterbacking depth, Jones said, specifically talking about number 19, Lance. I'd like to see him get some more work in this weekend. That would be number one. Do I need to see any more from Trey Lance? The answer is yes, but he's going to be on the 53. And I think this Trey Lance story, just keeping an eye on his progress and how he's doing, is so interesting here with the Dallas Cowboys. Because when you look at their situation with Dak Prescott and the uncertainty that is there, whether or not Dak wants to return to Dallas, whether or not the Cowboys actually want to pay him, the Cowboys are going to have some very big decisions to make, whether it's before this season or after the year, whether they want to re-up Dak Prescott. Does Dak Prescott want to return to Dallas? And if the answer is no, whether on Dak's side or the Cowboys side, they're going to have to figure out what that next quarterback option is going to be. And I think that if Dak, let's just go for the example, let's say Dak ends up leaving Dallas and signing with another team as a free agent. For the Cowboys, the best case scenario is Trey Lance developing behind the scenes and being ready next year to come in and be the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. Obviously, there's a reason the Cowboys traded for Trey Lance. And I think that, when you get a guy like him who the Niners traded, 3 first-round picks for to move up for, things don't work out. He deals with lots of injuries in San Francisco, which held him back. He had already not had that much experience, during his time in college. He didn't get a ton of reps there in San Francisco. They end up with Brock Purdy. He ends up being better at the time, and they trade away Trey Lance. And so if you're the Cowboys, I think it was a smart move to bring in a guy like Lance, because you think if he can develop and grow, we already know he has all those physical attributes. He's insanely quick. He's a great athlete. They already know he can run the ball really well. But if he can build himself up in that other area and become a good processor when it comes to reading defenses, if he can become a good QB when it comes to his rhythm in the offense and going through reads and things like that, then that's a great value for the Cowboys to have. And I think in Jerry Jones' mind, best case scenario, Trey Lance is the replacement if Dak is gone. And I think that, you hear him there in that comment. He is noting that it is promising that he's making some improvement, saying that he does still have a ways to go, or he has some things he needs to still improve on and get some more reps to figure those things out. But the fact that Jerry's noticing that he is taking some steps forward, it could make him think in the back of his mind that, okay, maybe Trey Lance with another year under his belt and some more time could become that QB in Dallas. And I think for the Cowboys, my thought process has been when it comes to the Dak Prescott situation, I don't think he is the quarterback that is going to take the Cowboys to the first NFC championship they've been in, and whatever it is, 25 or plus years, the first quarterback to take him back to a Super Bowl in so long. I just don't think Dak's the guy. He's had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And my thought that is Jerry Jones at this point has to recognize that if things go just the same as they have in years past when it comes to Dak and the team overall faltering in the playoffs, I don't think bringing Dak Prescott back is the right move. I think that you'd say to yourself, okay, we get that regular season success, the time the playoffs come around, things don't go right, we have to make a change. And the question that I'm having with Jerry Jones, like trying to figure out what the Cowboys are doing here, is, is he willing to have a mediocre year the following year in 2025 to potentially give Trey Lance a chance in this Cowboys offense? Let's say they decide not to pay Dak. They say, you know what, he's not taking us where we want to go in the playoffs. He's a good regular season quarterback, but that's not our ultimate goal. If they decide to say, Dak, you can go somewhere else, find another team, is he willing to do that and take a risk going into next year? Because on the one hand, with the Cowboys and their brand, that with Dak Prescott, you're still going to be in the media. You're still going to be competitive enough to be talked about the entire season. You'll probably get to the playoffs, most likely. That's probably my prediction for this year. But if you move on from Dak, you risk the worst case scenario where, let's say Trey Lance came in, they try to give him some more reps, see if he can grow and develop, and then it just doesn't work. They win 5 games. Then the Cowboys are in a spot that they haven't been in a while, where they're just not really a competitive team because they completely miss on quarterback. And my question is, have they seen enough from Trey Lance to be willing to take that risk? Or does Jerry Jones, at his age, want to take that risk? Or does he want to keep trying time and time again with Dak Prescott? That's something that's going to be very interesting to watch. And I think that from the way, look at those comments, it still sounds like Jerry hasn't seen enough from Trey Lance. And while I think Trey Lance looked really good in that last preseason game, there are still some concerns I have. You look at his yard per attempt in the preseason so far, 5.3, which is 69th, tied for 69th in the preseason in the NFL. And so he hasn't really been pushing the ball down the field much at all during this preseason. I do think the Raiders were giving him a lot of stuff underneath, and he was doing a good job of reading through those progressions and just, checking it down. And so I still think there's a lot of room for him to grow, and I just don't think he's going to be able to become a better quarterback until he gets a lot of reps and more snaps. And so I think that one solution could be you put him out as your starter next year, see what happens. If things go well, he gets better over the season, you stick with him. Things don't go well, you hopefully have a good draft pick and go and draft your quarterback of the future. So there's so many different ways this could go in Dallas over the next year. And of course, the first thing to watch is what happens with Dak. But just wanted to share that. If you want more NFL content, more Cowboys content, feel free to subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss any content. And I'll see you guys next time.